meeting which brought together religious, traditional and activists of the Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We shall equally tell you about how some passengers were assaulted or were assaulted yesterday along the Kumba-Buya route by suspected separatist fighters, as relayed by many newspapers. They were assaulted yesterday as they traveled to Kumba at about 2 a.m. in the morning, as you will be hearing in the newspapers in the minutes ahead. Bomotonguina Gwladys is already around and she will be reading for us the headlines in the French language. Bonjour Gwladys et bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup Lasha. Bonjour à toi. Bonjour à vous, chers téléspectateurs, et merci de nous retrouver pour Débrief, votre programme de revue de presse bilingue sur MyMedia Prime Télévision. Alors, nous débutons ce matin avec le journal Le Messager qui parle de la prison centrale de Yaoundé, Kondengi, avec un grand titre « Libérer les otages politiques ». Une pétition adressée à la présidente du tribunal militaire à Yaoundé par les prisonniers arrêtés dans le cadre des marches pacifiques du 22 septembre 2020. Vous allez voir les détails en pages 3 et 4 de ce journal. Nous continuons ce matin avec Info Matin qui parle de Covid-19 avec pour titre « Un mois pour vacciner 528 000 agents publics ». C'est l'objectif d'une campagne qui démarre ce mercredi 10 novembre jusqu'au 10 décembre 2021 sur l'ensemble du territoire national. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de ce journal. Nous poursuivons ce matin avec Mutation qui nous parle en grand titre de la chorale du professeur Gervais Mendoza, la foi du Cénacle, sur les traces de la célèbre chorale. Les détails sont donc en page 13 de ce journal. En page 5, le journal Mutation parle de l'opération Ville morte du lundi et la tension qui remonte à Boya. Nous continuons ce matin avec le journal Le Jour, lui qui nous parle ce matin de la recherche scientifique au Cameroun, le cri des chercheurs. Ils disent disposer de compétences pour multiplier des trouvailles dans divers domaines, mais se heurtent à l'absence d'investissement. Les détails sont donc en pages 4 et 5 de ce journal. Nous terminons ce matin avec Essingan qui parle de la visite de Fumban du fils du chef de l'État. Frambilla, une tradition de compassion. En effet, le fils du chef de l'État s'est rendu au sultanat dans le prolongement des obsèques du défunt, le sultan Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya. Les détails sont donc en pages 2 et 4 de ce journal. C'est ici que nous nous arrêtons pour cette revue de presse en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Bomotonguina Gwladys. Let's kick start with the Sun newspaper. The Sun newspaper this morning is focusing on what the paper terms fresh hopes for the population, the northwest and southwest regions for the country. Anglophone crisis, writes the newspaper. Toronto conclave lacks hope for Swiss talk after the retreat various factions. The Anglophone there are hopes that the Swiss talks, which had gone comatose due to resistance from some of these factions and even government, may be back on the table. We continue with the Sun newspaper about the 39th anniversary of President Paul Biya in PM Emeritus Young Film preaches peace and reconciliation. That's during a rally in Baneh, chief town of the northwest region, the country, to mark the 30th anniversary of President Paul Biya Hem of Power in the country. Philip Young equally used the occasion to call for President Paul Biya to stand for the upcoming 2020 presidential elections of projects per constituency and division. More details only in this edition of said newspaper. And over in Bamenda, we are talking Mende Henry dashes multi-million water to GRA Bamenda. This was during the ceremony over the weekend in the chief town. Bamenda Senator Mr. Henry Kende, who is Senator of the Republic, liquidated chairs, tables that were meant for in Bamenda. The donations which were rejected by the Ministry of Defense or the Ministry of Justice Cameroon. He decided to liquidate the tables and chair to make way for the realization of the water project. Is interested in what the paper tells Baneh boys at Tanganji transfers Mwangwenka village to Melong, and this move taken at Tanganji has caused the local population in Baneh to be talking about the said issues. You can get more details about the incident or the said issues only in this edition of the newspaper. And see, in the Southwest Regional Assembly takes COVID-19 fight to common man. COVID-19 fight has been taken by the Southwest Regional Assembly to common man. Talk about the respect barrier measures by the local population or the common not living. The campaign for effective vaccination against the said pandemic. The Minister Porter unveils economic package for Southwest region, and the top on economic package was for the second employer CD. Cameroon Development Corporation is top on the agenda or the development plan unveiled by Porter in the Southwest region of the country. We end with the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post newspaper is interested in the assault or the torture on passengers along Kumba route. Amber fighters intercept and mercilessly torture passengers along Kumba Boya route. The incident, we are told, happened yesterday and in the night breaking yesterday or Monday, and the separatist fighters are accusing passengers, which went viral on social media, of violating the traditional weekday Monday ghost town in the southwest and the northwest region of Cameroon. Let's talk about this move or this congratulatory message coming from Turkish ambassador Cameroon. We are told the ambassador helped a Turkish firm for state of the art construction of the Japoma stadium here in nation's economic capital, Douala. Thank you for watching television. We are back in the studio to continue with our discussions this morning, Gwladys.
Effectivement, nous accueillons Joy Ngong ce matin. Bonjour à toi, Joy.
Good morning, Gwladys. Bomotonguina.
Good morning, Joy.
Good morning, Lasha. It's always a pleasure.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing quite good this Wednesday.
Okay, let's go straight to what happened along the Kumba Boya route, where suspected separatist fighters intercepted a 19-seater bus and had to send out all the passengers that were aboard the said 19-seater bus, and got them well assaulted, tortured, as we are told by the Guardian Post newspaper. What is your view on this recurrent issue? And it came, I mean, after we had a bomb that was dropped in a taxi in Buya, still citing violation of ghost towns by the local population of the southwest region.
Well, Lasha Kingsley, I would say this issue, first of all, it has two sides. First of all, there's a side of the separatists who are now turning on their own brothers and sisters, who are now turning on their own, on the population, the Anglophone population. And then there's also the population who is, I don't want to say they are stubborn, but there's also a population who know the consequences of what they are doing. They've been with these separatist fighters for over some time now, and they know the consequences of violating the laws or the rules that have been set by these separatist fighters. First of all, the separatist fighters punishing their own brothers and sisters. Just the fact that they have instituted a ghost town on a Monday that is supposed to be the first day of the week, that is supposed to be a day when activities are supposed to be booming in that part of the country. Just the fact that they have instituted that day is enough punishment already on the population. And then punishing people or torturing them, destroying their goods, destroying somebody's taxi. How much is a taxi? How much does it cost to acquire a taxi? You destroy it. You go. People are traveling maybe for one business or the other to
and
serve
this was in the early hours. Not as
at
if
2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m., like, which means that they were still trying to catch up with time
exactly
to get into Kumba or Buya before.
I mean,
before 6 a.m. in the morning.
Just imagine that you have already been deprived of Monday as the first day of the week. They go as far as torturing them for trying to go about their businesses. They are not disturbing anybody. It's not like they were on the road, maybe they were hating on the
And those people were forced to sing and dance. I don't know the song they are singing.
Exactly.
They were singing that they will respect the ghost town.
It's quite frustrating, quite embarrassing.
They are just traveling. They don't know what urgent business they had to do on that Monday, turning against their own brothers and sisters. I
never really had time to watch this video. It's just this morning that...
Can we say that at the end of the day is the population that is suffering because the government is saying that they are not supposed to respect the ghost town and
the separatists are punishing them for no respect.
Can we also say the population is not also doing enough to denounce these people, probably by standing up and telling them that enough is enough?
You see the punishment that they give just for disrespecting the ghost town. We have seen cases where these separatist fighters go as far as even killing people who stand to
even thank God that they did not kill them.
Beating a woman on the buttocks.
That's somebody's mother. You don't know what she was. Maybe her child was admitted at the hospital and she was going for an urgent business. So at the end of the day, honestly, it is the population that is suffering.
So how does this advance the
struggle,
the cause?
It doesn't.
To independence?
It doesn't, because at the same time the population is stuck. They don't know who to support anymore. Do they support the Cameroon government or they go by the rules of these separatist fighters? Either way, they'll be punished because we see sometimes even the city councils usually close down shops that don't open on ghost town. And when you open on the ghost town, the separatist fighters will get you. So at the end of the day, what do the people do? The same people that both parties
So the question I'm asking is it not time for the population to rise up against these people that are making this kind of
the problem is,
untold barbarism on them?
The problem is, even when the population rises, they still face serious consequences. The population rises.
Maybe it's because it's one quarter of the population that's rising. Maybe
you know, it is very difficult for a group of or a large group of people to agree. The population, they are scared for their lives, which you cannot blame them because they have seen what has been done to other people for reason. Yes, either they are being punished by the Cameroon government or they are being punished by the separatist fighters themselves. You cannot blame them because of what has been done to people who have stood up before. So it is left for these two parties, the separatist fighters and the Cameroon government, to look for other
this happening shortly after the Toronto retreat, which many of them now, or many citizens of the Northwest and Southwest, they now believe that there is fresh hope for return to normalcy, since all the groups represented have come together to say, let's stop this kind of, let us respect the population, let schools go on in the Northwest and Southwest. And if torturing, they should talk about this issue of ghost town, that they should allow the population to go about their normal daily activities.
From the resolutions that I've seen that were taken in Toronto, they were mostly focused on how they are going to use strategies they are going to use to better or to look for peace. I didn't really see how they are intend to tackle the
where
ghost
have
town
they kept the local
issues. Population
in all these issues?
Because in most of the resolutions, I didn't see the resolution where they talked about the effects that this thing is causing on the population. Most of the resolutions were talking about how they are going to adopt a uniform language on social media, for instance, uniform language of communication, how maybe they want schools to go. But now the issue is, they have taken the resolutions, but on ground, are they really going to implement these resolutions? Are they going to ensure that they are
that's the worries of many Cameroonians,
the resolutions that have been made.
Do these guys still take orders from the people abroad? I'm talking about the generals on the ground.
The generals on ground, we see how they even sometimes they have, like I always say here, they have internal fights. Maybe the leaders have started putting aside those fights to look for a common goal, something that is going to favor the general public. But now they are there out of the country. They are not even here on ground to see the realities of what is going on. And most of these generals too, they are stuck maybe in the villages. They are stuck where they can't even move out of where they are because of security barriers and all. But now the problem is, how far are they going to go to make sure that these resolutions, the few that have been taken, are going to be respected? They can be respected, maybe, as they say, the mode of communication can be respected. But even to ensure that schools go or children are safe, the people are safe, how would they ensure that children are safe when they are not even here in the country to ensure that these things happen? They are not here. And the generals too, how are they going to, they do not even talk about how they are going to communicate to their generals to make sure that they respect their own orders. We just hope like everybody, every Cameroonian citizen, every Anglophone out there is hoping that these resolutions go a long way to bring back peace, a return to normalcy in those regions. But I think those people should also think of a way to better communicate, to implement these resolutions that we're taking, because just taking resolutions, it will not help. They have taken so many resolutions. The major national dialogue, there were resolutions as well that were taken, but how far are these resolutions being implemented? So it is not only about meeting and talking every day, it's also about implementing, which we hope that they eventually implement in the days ahead.
Okay, let's talk about this gesture by Senator Barrister Henry Kemende in the Northwest region. Over the weekend, he donated a water point to GRA, that's Government Residential Area Upstation in Bamenda. And this was the fruits of the liquidation of tables and chairs which he offered to courts in Bamenda, of course, which was rejected by the Ministry of Justice of Cameroon. The question I want to ask this morning, whether the rejection, let's start from the rejection of the gift, did the gifts or the donations have their place at the level of the courts? A lawyer giving chairs and benches to the courts?
Well, that I really can't tell, first of all, because I'm not a part of the justice system. So, but I just hope that the donations.
No, he's a lawyer. He has to go to, just imagine, to face a judge, and
yeah,
knew fully well that
like
the judge is sitting on the chair that he has given, and the tables.
Exactly, it's like bribery or corruption. That's how maybe it can be interpreted. But I think that
they can also be a good gesture.
It can be, but the problem is it will play. You know, imagine somebody giving you something, and then you have to reject a suggestion, or you have to reject that person's request. You have this guilty conscience that's going to be weighing on you, like, okay, this person has given me this thing before, which is good hard, and I can't return the favor. I think maybe the judge is just trying to avoid.
Yes, and speaking during the ceremony, Senator Barrister Kemende Henry said that it was even a blessing since he had two things at the same time that he was managing the water project and the donations to the court. So it was a blessing, so he had to liquidate the tables and chairs to complete the project of the water point. Well, at the end of the day, he is satisfied that he has donated, or he has helped the local population over there at the GRA in Bamenda. Every
disappointment, they say, comes with a blessing. So maybe it was just time for the people of that area in Upstation in Bamenda to have those.
So what can we learn from this gesture, that these administrators or these elected officials, they always have to consult the administration before they take on the move, probably, of donating something? Because we've seen it with Professor Maurice Kamto, right? Yes. During the COVID era, where he went to the Ministry of Public Health and his donations were rejected. So it's not the first time. Does it mean that they are not always communicating with the government officials, or they just maybe up and start?
It comes to maybe a point where some of these donations.
Or is it because he's coming from the opposition? Motives. Because Senator Barrister Henry is SCF.
Yeah, maybe they feel like the donations have an extra motive. They can bring it up sometime in the future and say, all right, I did this, I did that. You know, I think that the administration is just trying to avoid.
Where is the benefit of the population? If we are just thinking about our political parties, where is
the population that suffers at the end of the day? But I feel like.
But that is an elected official. It's a senator of the nation we are talking about. Yeah. Yes, a senator.
Besides,
since he's a lawyer, probably he has gone to the various courts in the Northwest and discovered that the conditions, or the working conditions in those courts, are not good enough. So he decided to take on that move.
Despite that, like I was saying, there's an aspect of political interest that comes to play. Besides being a lawyer, or aside being a senator, they are members of different political parties, and whether we like it or not, they have these internal feuds that exists, and we can't deny that fact. You know, it is. I think that they are just avoiding future political, problems that might eventually come up. That, all right, because I gave this thing, I deserve this, or because I did this, I'm sure that they are just trying to avoid. Even if the case with Maurice Kamto, it was basically the same thing. They're just trying to avoid that political problem that might come up, you know, in case these people bring that up, you know. There's always this
is it not time to put apart political issues
they have to do that, put aside political issues, put aside personal interest, and think about the good of the people. But these things exist. We can't deny the fact that it exists. These people belong to two different political parties that are basically fighting each other. Yes, so it exists, and we really
once you are the senator, you are the senator for everybody, not only for your political
for the nation, not for
your political party.
That's what we say, but behind the scenes, we know that this fight exists. Yes.
So at this point of time, I think that maybe they have to think differently.
Yes, they definitely have to think, but it's hard, like I was saying. It is hard to think differently because it exists, and it's a reality that exists not only in our society, in many other societies as well. It's a reality that exists. You can't accept a gift from your enemy per se, just like that.
It's not for you.
You must think about
yes, it was for the court.
It's not for you.
Problem of personal interests that come in following their different political interests, which exists, and we really can't deny.
Our time is up. Gwladys and Joy Ngong. Thank you, Joy, for coming. Thank you to Gwladys. It's always a pleasure knowing that we are here to serve the interests of the general public. Thank you to televiewers of My Media Prime TV for taking out time to watch this other edition of The Brief, which was produced for us by Christain Tebong. And we've been Bomotonguina, Gwladys, and myself, Lasha Kingsley. See you tomorrow for yet another edition of What the Papers Must Have Said. Bye-bye.
BT Media sera encore plus mieux. Nous irons plus loin avec des images plus claires. Nos chaînes My Media Prime, My Movie Africa,